It's always nice to see celebrated actors such as Nicolas Cage show up in modern movies that we think are gonna be gems. What the fuck did I just watch? What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How y'all doing today? Welcome to my channel. My name is Justin Ray. I'm really big into movies and music, and if you are too, then I think that you'll be interested in my channel. So if you've made it this far, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you ring that notification bell so you can get notifications every time I upload videos. Today we're going to be talking about a movie that just came out not that long ago called Willy's Wonderland, starring Nicolas Cage. So I made the mistake of not looking into what Willy's Wonderland actually was before it came out. I've been pretty excited about the movie Five Nights at Freddy's, which actually sounds like it's going to be a pretty scary movie. When they announced that they were releasing a movie called Willy's Wonderland starring Nicolas Cage, which has a similar premise to Five Nights at Freddy's, I was immediately hooked because something about demonic animatronic puppets coming to life killing people just sounds very enticing to me, so I was like really intrigued to see this movie. But oh brother, was I let the fuck down. And to be quite honest, I was actually more excited about Willy's Wonderland than Five Nights at Freddy's because Willy's Wonderland stars Nicolas Cage. We all know and love Nicolas Cage. That was the draw to this movie, at least for me, in my opinion. Just the fact that this movie stars Nicolas Cage was enough to get me hooked. Okay, let me just start by saying Willy's Wonderland was not scary at all. I feel a little gypped because I was expecting this movie to be at least a little creepy. Nicolas Cage is hired to clean this decrepit Chuck E. Cheese type place in order to pay off the cost to get his car fixed. Okay, that alone sounds creepy enough, especially if you're going into this knowing that in the middle of the night, these demonic animatronic puppets come to life and try to kill Nicolas Cage. We've all been little kids before. I can still remember when I was a kid having my birthday parties at Chuck E. Cheese, seeing all the animatronics up at the front of the place playing those cute little children's songs. What's cuter than a bunch of demonic animatronic puppets coming to life and trying to kill you at your birthday party? But man, I was expecting a horror movie. This felt like a goddamn comedy to me. Okay, starting out with the negatives, this movie was just flat out not scary at all whatsoever. The animatronic puppets were just stupid as hell looking. I can't even remember any jump scares. I found myself rooting for Nicolas Cage to just rip these little retarded puppets to shreds. Nothing about them was scary. Also, the color correction. Whoever was editing this movie did a piss poor job, especially with the color correction. Every part of the movie that showed like some dark shadowy spots had like this oversaturated blue coloration to it, as if they took like the lows and like amped up the blue on the color correction tool, and it was just really distracting for me. For a Hollywood movie, you would think they'd be a little more professional and like color correct their movie correctly. I mean, I'm aware that Willy's Wonderland had a low budget, but goddamn, I'm sure the budget was over $10. And then Nicolas Cage doesn't say one single word this entire fucking movie. They didn't even give his character a name. When the credits started rolling, they had Nicolas Cage's character listed as the janitor. Like, what the fuck? He didn't talk, he didn't have a name. Like, what the fuck, man? Nicolas Cage is a fantastic actor. I don't know what the whole thought process was with having Nicolas Cage be a total fucking mute in this movie. It would be one thing if he didn't have any side characters to exchange dialogue with, but there were side characters. There was plenty of characters in this movie for him to engage in conversation with. Personally, I would have found it funnier if Nicolas Cage would have had a few one-liners here and there as he's slaying these animatronic puppets. But nope, he doesn't say one fucking word the whole movie. He simply just kills these animatronic puppets, who are able to speak, by the way, which I find a little ironic. It's unrealistic for these puppets to be speaking and more realistic for a grown man to be speaking, but nope, it's the other way around. The puppets can talk and Nicolas Cage can't. Or at least he chooses not to. He just gives these little looks whenever he's mad, like. That's all he does the whole movie. And Nicolas Cage has such repetitive behavior in this movie. He has his alarm set on his watch for when it's break time. And every time it's time for him to go on break, he goes right to the refrigerator to get his little cans of energy drinks that he's carrying around with him and goes straight for the pinball machine and then sits there and plays pinball. all nonchalant, like he doesn't even care that these animatronics are trying to kill him. As long as it's break time, he's on break. He ain't killing shit. He ain't doing a fucking thing but playing pinball and drinking his drink. I also didn't care for the little backstory for why these animatronics were coming to life and killing people in the first place. The original owner of Willy's Wonderland apparently is a child murderer, and he gets it in his mind to hire like 5 other child murderers to work at Willy's Wonderland wearing like the animatronic puppet suits, and they would lure little children into the party room and straight slaughter them. That's how they got their victims. And the day that law enforcement shows up to Willy's Wonderland to arrest these child murderers, they all perform a ritualistic suicide right there in the middle of the floor at Willy's Wonderland. And get this, they performed a satanic ritual that allowed their spirits to like possess these animatronic puppets, and that's how they were able to come to life at night and kill people. I mean, let's be real, they could have came up with a better explanation for why these puppets were coming to life. They could have used like the idea of like artificial intelligence or some shit, but no, they go the whole satanic ritual bit and putting their souls into the puppets. It's just fucking stupid. And get this, the entire town is in on it, including the town sheriff. The whole little lore and backstory is so ridiculous to me. The sheriff like explains what happened in the past. There's like this little flashback, and she talks about how like once the puppets started getting out of hand, they started killing people outside of Willy's Wonderland. Dead bodies started showing up all over town. So the townspeople and the sheriff went to Willy's Wonderland and cut a deal with Willy. It's so stupid. She like walks up to the puppet like, "You can't keep killing all these people. We'll cut a deal with you. If you stay in Willy's Wonderland and don't leave the premises, we'll feed you. We'll bring you people for you to eat." And that's just so stupid. Like, I feel like I wasted my time watching this movie. Like, literally, the town sheriff and like the townspeople are gonna bring people inside Willy's Wonderland so that these puppets can eat. I mean, that's stupid. So apparently that's what happened to Nicolas Cage. He got lured into Willy's Wonderland so they could eat. But little did they know, Nicolas Cage is a total badass and he fucks them all up. And another thing that I found weird about this movie, they kept hinting at the audience that there's gonna be like some revelation or big confrontation with the main puppet. The Willy puppet, the weasel, he's the tall weasel one, he's like the leader. But they kept hinting that like there's just something not right with this one animatronic, and it kept the audience thinking like, what's up with Willy? Like, something's gonna happen here at the end because they keep hinting at it. So like, and then at the end you find out that it's just another fight between Nicolas Cage and an animatronic. So it's like Nicolas Cage versus Willy at the end, but that's the same thing we've been watching the entire movie. One by one, Nicolas Cage is killing these puppets off, but they kept hinting that like something big is like there's just something suspicious with this Willy character, but they leave you with blue balls at the end because it just ends up being Nicolas Cage versus Willy, and he fucking kills them just like he did the other puppets. You know what I mean? One by one, Nicolas Cage kills off these animatronic puppets until we get to the main event, Nicolas Cage versus Willy, which that fight wasn't no more significant than the other ones. It was just as stupid. He would die just as easy as the other animatronic puppets. The other characters were bad, the acting was mediocre, there was nothing memorable about any of their performances, other than the fact that the blonde-haired girl had like a huge ass, but her and her boyfriend end up getting slaughtered by the alligator animatronic. Which leads me to my final negative. None of these animatronic puppets were memorable except for maybe Willy, the tall weasel, and the Tinkerbell looking one. But yeah, I feel like if you're gonna make a movie like this, then each individual animatronic puppet should have their own characteristics that make them stand out from each other. They all kind of seemed like just uninteresting, and there was just nothing really cool about any of them except for like the Tinkerbell character. She actually stood out to me, and I do feel like she was the most, she was the strongest one as far as like personality, and she was pretty interesting to watch. Okay, now on to the positives. Not very many, but I do have a few. For how much of a low budget this movie was made on, the gore and special effects weren't all that bad. It was pretty interesting to watch, especially when that guy gets his neck ripped out by like the alligator animatronic. The gore was pretty good. I really enjoyed the carnage candy. That was probably the best thing about this movie. So if you're just looking for a movie that's got like some good kills and some blood and gore, this movie delivers somewhat on that level. Like when the Tinkerbell character, it shows her mouth up close, and it's like her mouth like there's like blood and like oil and shit on her mouth. I mean, this shit was kind of gruesome. So yes, the Carnage candy was pretty good in this movie. And also, I've mentioned this before, but the Tinkerbell animatronic puppet, she was a real show stealer. She was the most interesting one. She was almost creepy, like I said before. She was the one that stood out from the rest to me. All the other animatronics were fucking lame. She was like, she was funny as shit, especially when it shows the scene of her looking down at that little fat kid and she's like, hey, wanna fuck, fatty? That shit was funny as shit to me. She was definitely one of the positives of this movie. Also, the score, the music that was composed for this movie somehow fits with the theme. The song was really corny and cheesy, and it's bound to get stuck in your head, but it somehow goes with this movie. Like the scene when Nicolas Cage is playing the pinball machine and he's dancing, they're playing like the full song, like, Willy's Wonderland. Like, it's such a corny song, but it goes with the movie, and I found that to be one of the positives. But overall, guys, Willy's Wonderland was not that great of a movie. I was expecting it to be a horror flick, but to me, it struck me as like a dark comedy. I found myself laughing more than I found myself being afraid. I didn't personally like it, but I do think that a lot of people out there will find this movie entertaining, and it'll deliver what some people want as far as like Carnage candy and just like cheap thrills go. I mean, it was entertaining. I was just expecting more out of it. I didn't really care for it all that much. However, I do believe that a lot of you out there will really appreciate Willy's Wonderland and enjoy it. I'm hoping that Five Nights at Freddy's is a lot darker and scarier than this movie was. I was kind of, like I said, I feel kind of gypped. I feel like they took me because they had Nicolas Cage as like the drawing point. Like, oh, Nicolas Cage is starring in this movie, so come see it. So that's why I dove in face first, and I was like really disappointed. I didn't like the movie. But guys, I'm gonna have to give this movie a 1 out of 5. 1 for effort. At least they tried. I'll probably never watch this movie again. What did you guys think of Willy's Wonderland? Did you like this movie? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Never want to see it again? It had a couple good things that I mentioned, but overall it was just a very corny, whack-ass movie, and I'm glad that that's over, and I'm glad this review's over. What did you guys think? Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you thought of Willy's Wonderland. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you can get notifications every time I upload a video. I'm gonna get out of here. You guys be safe. Enjoy the rest of your day. I hope all of you guys are doing good out there. I love each and every single one of y'all. You guys be safe. I'll see you guys later on this side or the other. Peace.